Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 250,000 subscribers. We're 5,000 shy, so do me a favor. We could do this in one shot here. One shot. So hit subscribe, watch, and share because there's so much happening. And sadly, there's going to be a lot more. Now, I want to talk about Trump, who is set to be sentenced tomorrow in the Manhattan District Attorney. They call it the hush money case. But let me be very clear about something. Since the conviction by the 12 independent jurors, Trump's legal team has been filing appeal after appeal after appeal. And they've already filed 2 appeals this week alone to stop the sentencing from happening. Now, this morning, this is almost like breaking news for you. This morning, the New York Appellate Court denied Trump's bid to halt the sentencing. So what do? They go to the Supreme Court. And now we're waiting for the Supreme Court of the United States to rule. And I'm kind of trying to figure out, what is the motion, the writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court even about? You're talking about a state criminal matter. The Supreme Court is supposed to rule on constitutional issues. So is the argument being laid out that a former president or a president has immunity for anything and everything that they've done, whether they are or they're not president? I'm not 100% sure. But I'll tell you what I am sure about. There has been a release of information that Trump and Justice Alito, Supreme Court Justice Alito, were speaking before he filed his appeal. Before he filed the writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court, Trump is on the phone with Justice Alito. Now, we already know that Alito has some issues, along with Clarence Thomas, about some gifts and about some improper. Do you not see at least an appearance of an impropriety that a defendant who has a matter before the Supreme Court is actually on the phone with the Supreme Court justice? I mean, that just doesn't smell wrong to you. And I don't care if they're talking about Mar-a-Lago burgers. I don't care if they're talking about golf. It makes no difference. There's an appearance of an impropriety. How many of us would have an opportunity, one, to even get Justice Alito's phone number, least of all, to get him to pick up the phone, right? And I want to remind everybody of Judge Juan Merchan's ruling, because it should be offensive to each and every one of us. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Judge Juan Merchan ruled, post it. This is the people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump. It is the decision and the order of Juan M. Merchan, Justice of the Court. All right. And here's the part that I want to bring to your attention. While this court as a matter of law must not make any determination on sentencing prior to giving the parties and defendant an opportunity to be heard, it seems proper at this juncture to make known the court's inclination to not impose any sentence of incarceration, a sentence authorized by the conviction, but one the people concede they no longer view as a practical recommendation. As such, in balancing the aforementioned considerations in conjunction with the underlying concerns of the presidential immunity doctrine, a sentence of an unconditional discharge. Let me say that one more time, and it's why we have it highlighted in yellow. An unconditional discharge appears to be the most viable solution to ensure finality and allow defendant to pursue his appellate options. Further, to assuage the defendant's concerns regarding the mental and physical demands during this transition period, as well as the considerations set forth in the 2000 OLC memorandum, this court will permit defendant to exercise his right to appear virtually for this proceeding, if he so chooses. Now, I need to be very clear about something. In my entire legal career, I've never really practiced criminal law, but in my entire legal career, I have never even heard of an unconditional dismissal being given to a defendant after a trial. I've never heard it. Now, is there a reason I've never heard of it? Sure. Because how many of us are presidents or former presidents? And the answer is, well, in this case, it's just one. Now, this needs to be discussed for a quick second. An unconditional dismissal, as stated by Judge Merchan, means no incarceration. It also means no probation. It means virtually nothing, no accountability. And I say this, and I say it's important because as someone who was subpoenaed to testify in that case and classified as the key witness in that case, had I known that Trump would never be held accountable, I never would have accepted the subpoena. I don't care if they served me with the subpoena or not. I never would have taken the stand. Absolutely not. For what reason? The mental, the physical, the emotional, the financial damage of taking the stand against my former boss, placing me right there for another 48 hours on the stand to be shredded or lauded, depending upon which side of the aisle you were sitting on. I never would have taken the stand because it's just not worth it. If somebody is convicted of a crime and there's no accountability, why convict them of a crime in the first place? It's something that I say that a lot of people get angry about. Imagine if driving down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, you're going 100 miles an hour. And the most that ends up happening is the officer that pulls you over tells you, speed limit's 25, sir. Please just do 25 miles an hour. And so after he lets you go, no ticket, no nothing, you speed the hell right off again, doing another 100 miles an hour. No accountability? Really? No accountability as far as I'm concerned. You're wasting your time. This is all mere theater. This is a political spectacle. And I want to show you now a clip of Caitlin Collins discussing the conflict of interest. Play the clip.
About that.
Yeah, this is almost unheard of, Wolf, for an incoming president. But what we are learning and what CNN has just confirmed is that President-elect Trump did speak with Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito in recent days. And we are getting a statement from Justice Alito himself saying that it was at the recommendation of a former law clerk of his who wanted him to call the president-elect on his behalf and recommend him for a job in the Trump administration, in his government. Now, it is not unusual for Supreme Court justices to call and make recommendations on behalf of their former clerks. That's why half of them go and clerk in the first place, so it can help them, of course, with job placement. But what makes all of this so unusual, Wolf, is, of course, that call came one day before Trump's legal team filed that emergency appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court to try to delay his sentencing that is scheduled in the New York Manhattan hush money case this Friday. So far, his appeals there have been unsuccessful, Wolf. And I should note that in a statement from Alito, he said that they did not discuss that emergency application that Trump's attorneys filed today. And he said, I was not even aware at the time that such an application would be filed. I should note, Wolf, we did have an idea generally that Trump's team was going to try to file something to the Supreme Court if they did not succeed with New York courts. But Alito is saying right now that that was not discussed, despite the fact that they did have this unusual phone call this week, Wolf.
All right, Kate.
Which goes right back to what I was saying before. I don't know whether they did or they didn't. I find it bullshit. I mean, I call bullshit on the fact that he didn't know that they were going to file a writ of certiorari. I guarantee you his legal team told him what they intend to do. Immediately go for an immediate decision by the appellate court here in New York. And if that doesn't go to their favor, immediately file a writ of certiorari. So in that way they can then make a motion within which to have the sentencing portion again delayed and so on and so forth. All right. There's an appearance of an impropriety, and that in and of itself is enough. Now, I want to show you in finality a clip of Wolf Blitzer speaking to Representative Tony Gonzalez about that phone call. Play the clip.
You think it's appropriate for Trump to be speaking with someone who will actually be deciding a case against him?
I do think it's appropriate. He is the incoming president. He's a former president, and very soon he's going to be the current president. So I think, to me, it's a positive thing that President Trump is meeting with the Senate, that he's meeting with the House, that he's willing to have conversations with the Supreme Court. To me, that's what I look for in a president. I want to have more of that dialogue, and the more openness and the more transparency that we can have, I think the better it is for all Americans. I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people were frustrated with the Biden administration, just transparency. Let's just talk about these things. So I think it's very positive that President Trump and his team are having conversations across the board throughout all aspects of government.
Well, do you think Justice Alito needs to recuse himself from this Trump case right now?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, who knows what the conversation they had, but I doubt it was on something like that. There's so many things, so many important issues that need to be discussed, and I'm certain, there's a lot of that. So I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez, thanks so much for taking a few moments and joining us. We appreciate it.
Boy, it's incredible, the ass kissing and the bullshitting by both sides, right? I mean, the bottom line. Look, let me be clear about this. The bottom line here, there is an appearance of an impropriety, and I think we all will agree on that. All right? This Tony Gonzalez, just an asshole, right? He's going to say whatever he has. Oh, there's absolutely no reason. I want to see my president speaking to the Supreme Court. I agree. Except if your president, our president, has a case pending before the Supreme Court. It's just fucking wrong. And the fact that Tony Gonzalez doesn't see it and he's trying to play this politics game where he's ass-kissing the incoming president, it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. It's stupid. And it makes him look like the asshole that he is. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.